Good afternoon. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Joining us today for this month's KOL AMA session is we've got Kent Teo right here with us today. He's a true visionary of the local retail landscape. So as the founder and also CEO of Invade, Ken has livened up Singapore's shopping scene with innovative pop-ups such as Artbox, Makers Market, and Fleawhere. So, a passionate entrepreneur with a flair for injecting life into retail spaces, Ken is actually here to share more about his entrepreneurial journey and also future plans in the ever-changing world of retail. Thank you so much, Ken, for joining us for this interview today, Ken. It's been a while, and I think like just to share a little bit of background, I've known Ken since I think 2017. That was my very first time I actually met him during one of your earlier events, right? Flashbang. So that was quite memorable and was super cool. I love all the lights installation and everything else. So yeah, Ken, and I'm just glad that you managed to take some time to join us today. So to kick things off, perhaps you can actually tell us more about yourself and the work you do at Invade.
Hello, hi Sophie and Swish members. Thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, I think we really met each other way back and really kind of like click straight away, right? So I think
Yeah.
just a quick introduction about myself, right? So Kent over here, been running a experiential events agency for the past 13 years since 2010. So we have been enabling emerging brands in the food and retail scene through our creative concepts such as Artbox, Shilling, Makers Market, Fleawhere, so on and so forth, even Sandbox, right? All these creative concepts to enable our brands to pop up, right? Make use of a retail space, F&B space, pushcart space, event space, atrium space, basically any kind of spaces to kind of like showcase their products and services, right? So through this lifestyle concepts, we showcase them collectively. So that served us in a long way in a sense of like we are able to bridge it to a strong network of government agencies and landlords that are interested. So here we are between a bridge of 40,000 emerging brands in our database right now, connecting to 200 over landlords, government agencies that are interested to talk to this 40,000, right? But it's very hard and challenging to talk to each one of them. So that is where we serve as a bridge, as an ecosystem to support the entrepreneurs, the startups, as well as any of these emerging businesses.
Thanks so much for sharing, Ken. And I think, all this networking, it comes all from networking from your own side, right? And I believe it's like years and years of networking. And it's very time consuming, I believe. And, what kind of like inspired you to become an entrepreneur, especially in this space? And maybe perhaps you can actually share with us, some of the biggest challenges that you face when starting Invade.
I think it all started with a naive thought lah, right? Like to me, it's like I enjoy visiting flea markets, night markets, right? Whenever you go to like all the cities like KL, Bangkok, Taipei, Hong Kong, so on and so forth, right? So you always Google, right, night markets or search night markets, right? So I think that is the best way to immerse yourself in the local culture, right? It's really like local business owners talking to you or locals talking to you or haggling price and stuff like that. Or just show and tell their products and services. So I like that kind of experience and I would like to bring it to Singapore. So that's where we decided to organize our own flea market, our own night markets, our own pop-up. So that is where we managed to pick the interest of some of the venue owners to say that, hey, okay, you know what, I like the idea as well, and let's do it, right? So that kind of like got me started right from the uni days, I guess, since 2010.
Wow, that's a while back actually. And I'm sure also perhaps like, growing up in Singapore, we've always been exposed to Pasar Malam also, right? The whole
Mm,
Pasar Malam experience. I think that's very, very like, it reminds of the sweet memories of childhood also growing up.
correct. So I guess looking in a kind of like a future, right, beyond. So that always got us thinking of like how can we transcend beyond just your traditional night markets, pasar malam of sorts, and try to bring a lot more experiential kind of like programming to ultimately have one agenda only, one and only agenda to enable and put our emerging brands in the best light possible. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also just out of curiosity, like, how do you actually come up with this all these like super creative new ideas for your pop-up events and markets? Maybe perhaps you can actually share with us, or maybe go through your creative process on how you come up with all these ideas.
I think that's a good question. I think to me it's like creativity takes in a many shape and form. Original concepts take in the many shape and form. I guess it's more like it's day-to-day inspiration. And the more you travel, the more you expose yourself, the more you talk to people. I think creativity comes from different thoughts. For example, it could be original resources that you might come across, stories that you see, whether is it through like shows, dramas, books, and whatnot, or simply putting two different partners together, right? So, for example, in our most recent Artbox, we decided to, co-organize it with SGuy. So suddenly it becomes a really like a night festival rather than just your typical say, oh, okay, night market, I got shopping, I got food. But now it adds elements of variety, it adds the elements of entertainment, it adds the variety, elements of like gamification. So it's suddenly it kind of like, it's a new product altogether. So it becomes a creative festival beyond just a expected kind of like night market, for example. So that is an example of like how two different players coming together, immediately you created something new, right? So I guess that is a creativity of its truest form, I guess.
I see. And yeah, I saw from your social media and everything, like, it looks
Mm,
really, really cool because you have like what you say, you have your entertainment, you have like, your experiential kind of like, activities happening there. And you got all those the SGAG, like, celebrities also participating. I think that was pretty
yeah.
funny and very entertaining.
Mm,
And yeah,
correct.
I think that's really, really cool. And I think it's also very ever evolving, right? For you guys, you're always trying out new ideas, new angles on how to make it better for your events.
Yeah, I think so. I think for us, because we are very passionate, and our DNA sets in stone, like we are all about physical experiences, right? Pop-up experiences, right?
Mm,
So for example, we saw something that is very interesting, like Mario Kart, right? That the recent Mario Bros movie, right? Then
yeah.
can we do a physical Mario Bros festival, right? Where we bring the Mario Karts to life, drive around the cities. Can we kind of like do mini competitions, build kind of like physical experience to emulate whatever we see in the show, right? So that
Mm,
could be again another creativity altogether. And who are the
mm,
stakeholders that we get to engage? It could be brands and that are passionate in maybe games, board games, carnival games, maybe creative that's artist that's very good at drawing animes, right? And
mm,
then create certain merchandise. And then the target audience will then be, youngsters that the teenies, the teenagers that are interested and love what they see in the Mario Bros. So I guess it all revolves. It's not too complicated actually. It all revolves around like who are your audience, and then
mm,
what are they watching right now. Then kind of like
correct.
build your story and originality around that audience.
Also, maybe
Hmm.
you can probably say like you tap onto the latest trends, right? So I think that's
Could
also
be.
eye-catching. Yeah.
Yeah, but of course, I always have this kind of like famous saying like, or you hear this 1,000 times like, ideas are the cheapest form of thing on earth. It all really boils down to execution, right? It's really like,
True.
hey, your idea of a Pokemon festival and my idea of a Pokemon festival can be very, very, very different, right? You may be thinking, oh, let's do a Pokemon run, right? Pikachu running alongside Pikachu for a 1 kilometer run can be quite cool. But my end is like, oh no, I want to do a treasure hunting around the island of or revolving around Pikachu, right? So again, same idea but different kind of execution.
Yeah, that's good. And I think speaking of that, right, what do you think exactly like, sets Invade apart from other event and retail companies in Singapore? I'm sure you got your competitors and everything. And what do you think are the key factors that probably have contributed to your success?
I think that is a kind of a business talk altogether lah. But 101. So for us, I think we got the first mover where we, bring a successful IP to Singapore, Artbox, right? Um, and then that kind of like trigger our agenda that, hey, you know what? To set us apart, we must have our own IP, our own product. Productize your services. If you are running a marketing agency, if you're running a PR agency, if you're running a service company, right? Maybe one way is to productize your service, something that is uniquely yours, right? So everybody can organize a food carnival, but what if I say that I come up with a boutique version of Artbox? I call it Eatbox, for example, right? The Eatbox food carnival, bite-sized one. Then I'm the only one in Singapore that can do that, right? In a way, right? Because again, although it's same, it's like a food carnival, but no, mine is, from the creators of Artbox, we bring to you Eatbox, a food carnival. Same, but very different. So I'll guess the first 101, business 101 is kind of like try to productize, have your own product, regardless of what industry that you might be in, right? Something uniquely yours. Second is to really understand your customers, your users, right? So for us is right from the get-go, we know that our emerging brands are our biggest content, our source, our influencers, right? So to the landlord, I say, hey, Kent, I got a shopping mall, 40,000 square feet. Can you populate with your brands? I don't want to deal with them one by one because some may say, I want 1 day, I want 1 week, I want 1 month. It's too troublesome because as a landlord, I just want to get 40,000 out of the way. And to us, it's like, yeah, we can do that with just one single click. List on our website, 40,000, we divide into 400 stores. Each store get 100 square feet. Suddenly, it is more bite size, a small steps and baby wins for our brands to pop up, right? So that is our kind of like second thing, right? Then last but not least is always invest in your people, right? To have that human capital to echo your thoughts, right? Because again, the way that you run and execute and pull off your say events management, right? In my case, that's uniquely yours, right? Because that is the way that you want to bring an event to the table. And then investing in your human capital to then echo or translate the way that you want to organize the event. It may be service excellence together with some add-ons with our ecosystem, right? Then yeah, we can do that because events also sometimes they will say, oh, you know what, I need a photography studio, studio rental company, and just nice our 40,000 surely got right. So we have a strong ecosystem to support our clients' events needs, for example. Because our 40,000 brands, I'm sure some of them wants that, or maybe a caricature drawing. Sure, there's a lot of our merchants are doing that anyway. So that is how we can support our clients as well.
So you're not just giving them the space, but you're also giving them like so-called the whole package of like, how to promote their things, like also in a way maybe marketing or maybe as like additional services to what they can offer, right?
Yes.
So you were talking about Artbox. I mean, everyone knows, this very popular Thai outdoor concept market that's been crowned as one of the most popular pop-up markets in Singapore. So can you tell us more about how you first came up with this whole concept for Artbox and how this idea has actually evolved over the many years?
I think one thing we can kind of like position is or to reiterate that Artbox, yes, it originates from Thailand, but we actually localize it and create it into or evolve it into a creative festival, right? So it's all about celebrating creativity. So for us, it's really like a consumer show or lifestyle festival. So it is all about showcasing the best of emerging brands' creativity in the food, retail, and services, entertainment, anything B2C lah, basically, right? Anything that is consumer facing, we celebrate the creativity side of things. Quite a simple message, right? But again, it all boils down to execution, right? It's very, very simple. Creative festival, that's the idea. Then, but how do you translate it in the execution? Says it all, says it all. Yeah, so that's how we kind of like able to differentiate ourselves among our other frenemies or competitors. Yeah.
Nice. Just also out of curiosity, like how big is your team actually? Because to manage an event, to run an event, not just one, but multiple events at the same time, right? It's not easy. I can actually very imagine. How do you manage your teams actually?
So I think currently our size is what, close to 30 of us full-timers.
Wow.
Then every quarter we will have about 10 interns to join us. So
Mm,
I'll say a 30 plus 10 kind of size. And
mm,
then one, I think key thing to then translate or echo, right? Just now I was saying, right?
mm,
To get the team to get behind your thoughts and then your direction is to have a strong management team. So I think having that management team will then translate key values, key direction that you want to steer to your managers. I think it's very
mm,
important to have a strong team of managers to then
mm,
carry the direction forward, or provide a environment for them to have creative thinking and
mm.
be receptive to very fresh ideas. I think those are some of the key success factors lah, to me, in Invade.
Nice. And kudos to you for being I can imagine that you're a very, very good manager who sees the people in the team as, your own family, right? So I think that's pretty important
Mm,
also to win their trust
mm.
and, be aligned with them. Besides organizing like events and markets, right? Invade also owns like Mox, a co-making space for creative businesses. Maybe you can share what motivated you to start this project and what do you actually hope to achieve with it?
I think that is again part of the ecosystem, right? Because again, 40,000 businesses, definitely they would need space lah to work,
Mm-mm.
right? So
Correct.
I know when I first started, it's miserable, right? We had to haggle with the landlord, we had to pay, 3 months deposit, we don't know what we don't know, basically, right? So I just want
Mm.
to save our uh, uh entrepreneurs as well as the startups, this kind of like position it in a way that they can skip those steps or take a less painful route compared to what I took. So that is where I want to gather all the creatives together in a safe space, right? In a kind of like a office space for them to come together for. So that uh, the idea of a sharing economy, because again, taking from the lift from what we saw in earlier days like Uber and Grab and all the different shared resources, we think that, hey, how about the creatives, right? Do they want to
Mm.
share certain resources? So that is where we
Mm.
think, hey, what do creative need commonly, right? So we said, oh, how about a photography studio, right? What's the point of you as a photographer? You build a photography studio. Me as a creative agency, we build a photography studio. Everybody also build their own photography studio. Why don't
Mm.
everybody come together and kind of like, um, share one, right?
Correct.
Because you don't utilize the photography studio all the time. Then same thought process. Then we think of how about 3D printers? How about a workshop room? So these are some of the common facilities that we think that a creative may need. So that's where we
Mm.
kind of like build a MOOC, yeah, that revolve around this idea.
And I think that's a super very, very smart idea and a smart approach also because all these equipments they are not cheap, and like what
Mm,
you say, how often do you use it on a daily basis, right? So I think it's really
yeah,
smart that you get to share all this equipment and be
yeah,
able to be there for. I mean, it's also available for them to collaborate with each other, and it's a yeah, I think it's
agreed.
a good space. And
Thank you.
also most welcome. And also Invade, right? Is also known for its innovative approach to retail. With one of your more unique creations being Slurping Grid, the first instant noodle team experience in Singapore. Perhaps you can share any specific challenges you face while introducing these new concepts to the market and how you actually managed to overcome them.
I think this was done during the COVID period,
Mm,
unfortunately. So it was like 2021.
mm,
We just want to kind of like um um pretty much figure a way out lah. Because you know that
mm,
3 years we just got to try everything and anything, right? Because as
mm,
an events agency that can't organize events, what are we? Right. So
mm,
that I decided to go into ticketed activation, right?
mm, mm.
It's not event, gray. Right. So we
Mhm.
decided to take over a retail space and then convert it into a ticketed experience, like a retail experience, lah, basically,
Mm-mm.
right? So So that is where we had the idea of, oh, okay, let's do something that we always eat, like instant noodle, right? So we did it, and then it got the interest of like Nissin and Shin Ramyeon to sponsor us as well. So then
Nice.
it's like, oh, then we kind of like know the hey, there is a market, right? There's kind of like income from sponsorship, ticketing, merchandise, right? We sell anything about instant noodle, it will work, right? And then on the other side, some of the costs that we need to overcome, right? Because it's our first time trying to do a ticketed show. So it turns out that the expectations of the visitors is very, very, very high. So we, to be honest, we really received some bad reviews, right? Because again, that's our first interpretation, and I mean, appreciate the honest feedback and reviews and comments about it. So that kind of like it's a learning curve, lah, right? To say, okay, then let's do it better, right? We take the feedback, we take the because to them it's like, thanks for even coming down, right? Number one. And second is okay, understand and appreciate the reviews, then how do I make it better? So I think the challenges that we overcome is the kind of like the expectation of what a visitor want to see based on the value that they kind of like give. So the ticket is 20 to 20 bucks, right? So can I stay there long? Can I get something back? Or what do I do? Right? Unfortunately our Singaporeans is quite sophisticated in this space lah. So they are quite savvy, right? So they will want to know what are they getting back for that $20. But I'm very thankful because we sold about 12,000 tickets across the 3 months period, which is during the 525 ruling and the tango rule, right? 2 packs, suddenly 5 packs, 2 packs, and suddenly 5 packs over that period, you see. So basically, they killed any hype that we even built because every single week is news about COVID. So, but we're thankful. Lazada also came in to be the official e-commerce partner. Nissin, Shin, have a couple of partners that came in the end to echo and support this slurping good.
And I think like hats off to you guys also, like, despite the whole challenges of like, the 2 packs, 5 packs headache kind of thing, you guys managed to still like, pull it off, and you still get about 12,000 people over. That's amazing.
Yeah, 12,000.
Really, really amazing. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And also like, and in addition to like Slurping Good, right? What other unique concepts or projects is Invade currently working on, and also what can we actually expect to see from the company in the near future?
A lot. We are developing more IPs as we speak. 2 more in unique ones. And we probably see how it goes lah. So I have to be P&C about it at the moment. But it still, we are not going away. It's still going to be the festival kind of environment, but definitely not music fest. It's very, very challenging and expensive. But it will still revolve around lifestyle fest, consumer show. That's coming up. I will say that it's not just us. Be prepared. The whole Singapore will come to full life in the later half of the year, right? In September especially, right? With F1 coming up, with Token 2049 coming up, with FHA coming up, with Mid Autumn, the whole September basically is like, wow. Just hopefully Singaporeans, please stay in Singapore. There's plenty of festivals, shows, and whatnot in the whole month of September. And of course, year end, there's crazy stuff also. Singapore FinTech Festival is coming up. There's a lot of some esports festivals. There is a lot of kids festivals that's coming up also, right? Whether is it together with us or with other parties coming up. Yeah, there's more to look out for. So these are some of the direction. And also we do receive a lot of invitations from landlords in other cities. So there's interest from Manila, yeah, of course Jakarta and Hong Kong and KL. These are even for Bangkok as well. So there are like landlords like say that, hey, we need fresh content, we need new content. Can you then, come over and take a look? So I think later part of the year we will probably be traveling as well.
Nice. Very busy for you guys, but busy is always good, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, for sure.
right. So I think it's like, it's amazing. I mean, if you can survive COVID circuit breaker, this is nothing. This is like, just your day-to-day kind of like things.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed to that. With the rise of e-commerce and social media, especially with the rising popularity of TikTok shops, how do you see the future of like brick and mortar retail? Like, what role do you think pop-up events play in revitalizing like traditional spaces?
I think for the again, still back to know your audience. I think for in the part of like that it's not exactly like the fresh take on retail or what, but it's more like the attention economy, right? Because for TikTok, it's all about fighting for attention. Everybody, the content creators, all about fighting for attention, right? If you're talking about your target audience, is like if your product is a B2C, then you're fighting for attention, right?
Mm-mm.
I could be jolly well binge watching Netflix, or I am browsing TikTok, or I am on Instagram. So it's all about where should I spend my attention, or aka
Mm-mm.
my social currency, lah, right? So if you get my attention, you get my social currency. If you get my social currency, I get interested. I will spend in your product, right? So if it's on Netflix, I will subscribe to Netflix. I will probably go to a Netflix experiential escape room, for example, right? Or if I'm on TikTok, I like the content, I like what you are selling, then I'll probably buy. So it's a lot on like pooling kind of like people. So I would say that will be a fresh perspective of what retail can be, right? Who is saying Netflix is not retail? Netflix is a retail also, right? It's just a different form, right, of retail. They retail content to you, right? So for likewise for TikTok as well, right? They're retailing content to you. You are subscribing to your favorite creator. You are buying items from them. You're sending virtual gifts and whatnot. So I would say that is really a fresh take to retailing, right?
Mm-mm.
And retailers, we really have to know your audience, right? On how you want to distribute your products, through all the different channels and pick the right battle, lah, right?
Mm-mm.
There's no such thing as targeting everyone. So if you know that your target audience is 16 to 25, then you probably know that part of them are on TikTok right now, right? So
Correct.
stop investing in Facebook ads, for example, right?
Mm-mm.
If you only have that, X amount of budget.
Mm-mm. Very, very, very wise advice indeed. So yeah, important thing that the takeaway is like to know your target audience and be very strategic with your strategies basically, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And out of respect of time, we have about I think I probably left with about two more questions for you.
Mm.
And shall not take up much of your time also. But perhaps the second last question would be perhaps can you share any tips or any advice for any aspiring entrepreneurs who are actually interested to be like you into the retail or even industries?
I was strongly advised not to.
Really?
Like, okay, I'll say that I'll say that if you think that you are providing a real value, right,
Mm-mm.
solving a real world problem, you
Mm-mm.
are not just passionate, you have to be very, very determined, right?
Mm-mm.
Because for example, I like, so for example, I like taking photographs, right? I like to go to different places. I like to take street photographs, cityscape, and everything. I like to post on my Instagram. I gain followers, right? I gain 5,000, 10,000 followers.
Mm-mm.
Oh, suddenly people say that, oh, I like what you're doing. Can I engage you? For example, I said, okay. So should I set up my photography business, for example? But bear in mind, because you set your hobby, your passion up for as a business, that means you are subject to judgment, subject to criticism, you're subject to, because people pay for your passion and
Mm-mm.
ultimately you get judged for it. So be prepared for that as well, right?
Mm-mm.
So I would say that is the kind of thing. Good that your business is run on your passion, but be prepared for what's coming next.
Mm-mm.
And then whether you have the capacity and of course mental strength to then pull it off, it's really more of like finding the reasons to do so. I
Mm-mm.
guess that is, I would say, early stage for those that want to think of entrepreneurship in Singapore.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, for those people who really, really wants to be like Ken, you really need to have like, strong mental and like be able to like pull through any kind of challenges, right? Yes. So
Yeah.
finally, if you could actually go back in time and like probably give give your younger self, one piece of advice, what would it be?
Wow, wow, this is a tough question. Um, okay, something that probably had to be very, very cautious as
Mm,
to um going into business with your close ones and loved ones. I think that is where a lot of people start like had the idea, right? Hey, me and my brother, okay, what? Like, let's do something together. Sure, right? But the closer you are, the harder it will be. Trust me.
I can imagine.
Because there are a lot of things. The closer you are, the more detailed that you have to spell out the rules, the roles and responsibility of each other.
Mm-mm.
And one must have the final say. There's no such thing as 50-50, right? Okay, lah, because we are bros, that's 50-50. No.
Mm-mm.
Please decide who is the ultimately that CEO and the one who make the executive decisions on behalf of the pair or the group or one whole lot, right? So
Mm-mm.
I would say that was probably one piece of advice I would tell myself as well. Being very real clear. So that is one of the learning curve that I take over the years.
And I think that's also very important because like people always get this misconception of like, of like, oh, okay, because it's my brother or my sister or my family, like I can always like, work things out, but that's not always the case, right?
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's a lot more sensitive then, because
Of
it's not
course,
just a business partner. Yeah, but
of
it's
course,
your close ones. Yeah,
of course. And I think that's a very, very, I think that's one of the most important advice because that's like, it's a make or break kind of like, advice also. So thank you so
mm.
much, Ken.
Mm.
I think it's been a really, really great session, short and sweet. I wish I can, have a longer conversation with you.
No
But
problem.
yeah, I really appreciate your time and also, and also for sharing your experiences and also expertise. And of course, your piece of advice. It's been a pleasure to learn from you, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors. And we are so very, very excited for the future events. Even though you can't drop hints, we just need to look
Thank
forward
you.
to the upcoming months.
Yes.
Yeah, so really,
Hmm.
really thank you so much. We also hope that for those people like who've actually joined us for this session today, hopefully they also gain valuable insights into the world of retail and entrepreneurship. And
Sure.
for you, Ken, any last words to our community?
I think for those that are, in the same space, do reach out. Happy to have any kind of like opportunities or collaboration or shared resources. Reach out, and I think Sophie can provide the contact details, and happy to help our fellow Swish community on anything. Yeah. Thank you.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, Ken. And have an amazing week ahead. And I hope to see you soon.
You too. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.